Welcome to the module on the causes of crime. Outline: in this module, we'll be studying the psychological approaches and situational approaches to crime. Learning outcomes: examine the psychological approaches to crime, and we will also examine the situational approaches to crime. Psychological approaches: what is it about some individuals that make them more likely to commit crimes as compared to others? Personality: most people recognize that individuals differ in their ways of thinking, feeling, and behaving. Two people's thoughts, feelings, and behaviors in a same situation may be totally different. People differ in terms of their personality characteristics or traits. There are two main types of approaches that have dominated literature about the potential for criminal and antisocial behavior. The first type of approach looks broadly at models of personality based on multiple or essential traits. The second type of approach focuses more specifically on specific personality traits or characteristics. Now we will study about the essential trait approach. Allport and Osbert counted as many as 17,953 words in the English dictionary that refer to different personality traits. One of the important tasks for personality psychologists has been an attempt to reduce the plethora of terms to an essential few. One such approach was developed by the psychologist Hans Isaac and is known as the PEN model. PEN is the short form for psychoticism, extraversion, introversion, and neuroticism. The terms or traits of extraversion and introversion must be familiar to you all. Extraversion, introversion captures individual differences in the people's tendencies to be sociable, outgoing, dominant, and active. If people have these traits, they tend to be extroverts. If they are opposite to these traits, they tend to be introverts. Neuroticism captures individual differences in the tendency to be anxious, moody, angered, frustrated, and emotionally unstable. Psychoticism was a late addition to the model and was included because of Hans Isaac's interest in criminal behavior and antisocial behavior. What does the trait of psychoticism mean? It means about people's tendency to be cold, insensitive, egocentric, and cruel. An alternative model suggests that human personality can be captured in terms of 5 fundamental personality dimensions. The short form is OCEAN and it stands for openness, conscientiousness, extraversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. The traits of extraversion and neuroticism in the OCEAN model is the same as it was in the PEN model. The trait of agreeableness refers to individual differences in the tendency to be good-natured, trusting, helpful, kind, compassionate, and warm. Conscientiousness captures individual differences in reliability, task perseverance, self-discipline, hard work, organization, and goal orientation. The trait of openness refers to individual differences in the tendency to be curious, creative, and untraditional. Those individuals who score high on the trait of openness tend to be open to new ideas. The available evidence suggests that the 5-factor model captures the most important dimensions of personality, that personality traits are heritable, they are relatively stable over time, and they can also be used to predict important life outcomes. Next, we go to study about the single trait approaches. The single trait approach focuses more narrowly on specific personality characteristics. There are a number of single traits that have been explored in the context of criminal and antisocial behavior with particular focus on impulsivity, empathy, and narcissism. Now consider the following choice. Would you take 100 rupees today or 150 at the end of the year? I am sure there are certain students would like 100 rupees today, whereas certain students wouldn't mind waiting till the end of the year to take 150 rupees. This question taps your capacity to delay gratification, that is, to inhibit the motivation to obtain something desirable in the present in order to obtain an even greater reward in the future. Delaying gratification is just one among a somewhat big array of related and partially overlapping psychological constructs such as impulsivity, self-control, self-regulation, executive functioning, risk-seeking, and sensation-seeking. A very useful way for organizing these different constructs is provided by Cross et al. Cross et al. Suggests that three main characteristics are captured in literature. The first one is over-attraction to reward, second, undersensitivity to punishment, and the third, difficulties in exerting control over behavior. Over-attraction to reward. Over-attraction to reward relates to differences in one's approach motivation. There are some individuals who are more motivated to pursue and engage in a variety of risky and exciting activities. These individual differences are important to understanding criminal behavior because a number of risky and exciting activities are either criminal offenses or associated with criminal behavior. For example, fast driving, binge drinking, etc. Undersensitivity to punishment. Undersensitivity to punishment refers to individual differences in the tendency to be influenced or affected by the negative consequences of behavior. These individuals do not think about the consequences of their behavior. Individual differences in punishment sensitivity have not played a particularly prominent role in the theories of criminal behavior, but are potentially important for understanding why women tend to engage in significantly less crime than men, and why individuals who have psychopathic characteristics may be particularly crime prone. Women tend to be observant about the punishment and hence are less likely to engage in criminal activities. Difficulties in exerting self-control over behavior. The capacity for self-control or self-regulation features in many theoretical approaches. What does it mean? It means the capacity to alter or override dominant response tendencies in order to regulate thoughts, emotions, and behavior. The capacity for self-control can be both viewed as a dispositional characteristic that varies among individuals and a characteristic that varies across situations and also is influenced by a number of different factors. Cognition. An important psychological approach for explaining criminal behavior focuses on offender cognition. It relates to how the offenders think about themselves and the world. Most cognitive approaches to understanding criminal behavior focus on social cognition. Social cognitive approaches. As Koslin and Rosenberg explain, cognition does not focus on the objective social world, but instead on how individuals perceive the social world, how they remember and attend to different aspects of the social world. There are two important constructs in social cognitive theory. First one is schema and the second one is scripts. A schema is a collection of learned concepts that relate to a specific domain. For example, one schema of a sports car would include that it is fast, shiny, expensive, and small. We have schemas of all sorts of domains including objects, people, and roles. Scripts are viewed by cognitive psychologists as knowledge structures that describe a particular sequence of action that are associated with particular events or activities. For example, when we go to a restaurant, we know that we first need to select a table, order, wait for some time, eat, pay the bill, and then leave. Scripts are a specific type of schema known as event schema. Mental structures like schemas and scripts play an important role in guiding appropriate social behavior. They can, however, also influence criminal behavior. Psychological disorders. Many people view that there must be something wrong with individuals who engage in serious and persistent criminal behavior. However, the nature of this relationship is in no sense straightforward. Evaluation. Psychological approaches to explaining criminal behavior attempt to provide an answer of why are some individuals more likely to engage in criminal offending. Psychological approaches attempt to answer this question by searching for differences in personality and cognitive characteristics as well as specific mental disorders. Next, situational approaches. The social environment. One important aspect of our environment is how the other people we interact with, that is, the social environment. The reason that a person's behavior varies depending upon the situation is the social environment. For example, a person's behavior might be different when attending a formal dinner and when going out with friends. A significant body of research highlights the importance of peer influence in criminal behavior of young people. There is evidence to suggest that the presence of peers heightens the risk of antisocial behavior. Here, there is an important term known as de-individualization, which says that when people are in groups, there is a higher tendency of acting in antisocial and criminal behaviors because of group diffusion of responsibility. A number of theoretical approaches draw heavily on the role of social processes. Wikstrom has advanced the situational theory of crime, which includes individual differences interact with the situational context to produce criminal behavior. The psychosocial approach also includes a complex interface between the inner and external worlds. The physical environment, there are three different theories: the rational choice theory, crime pattern theory, and routine activities theory. According to the rational choice theory, criminal behavior is rational. That is, everyone wants to seek maximum reward for minimum effort, even criminals. The central proposition of the routine activities theory is that for crime to take place, three things must converge: a motivated offender, a suitable target, and the absence of an available guardian. A motivated offender is a given. A suitable target could be a locked house, and the absence of an available guardian would be the lack of a security guard or CCTV cameras. The importance of routine activities theory is highlighted in crime pattern theory, which takes as its basic premise that the idea that crime does not occur randomly in time or space but is patterned. Evaluation. Situational approaches to understanding crime are important because they highlight the role of the social and environmental context plays in offending. But we should also remember that offending is always the result of the interactions that occur between persons and the environment. This is the reference book for this module. Thank you.